श्रुतिमल्लोके सर्वम् आवृत्य तिष्ठति सर्वतः पाणिपादं तत् सर्वतोक्षिशिरोमुखम् सर्वतः श्रुतिमल्लोके सर्वम् आवृत्य तिष्ठति. What was known translation and purport by Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sarvatah, everywhere. Pani, hands. Padam, legs. Tat, that. Sarvatah, everywhere. Akshi, eyes. Shiraha, heads. Mukham, faces. Sarvatah, everywhere. Shruti having ears. Loke, in the world. Sarvam, everything. Avritya, covering. Tishtati, exists. So everywhere, hands, legs, that everywhere, eyes, heads, faces, everywhere, having ears in the world. Everything covering exists. Translation. Everywhere are his hands and legs, his eyes, heads, and faces, and he has ears everywhere. In this way, the super soul exists, pervading everything. Purport. As the sun exists, diffusing its unlimited rays, so does the super soul or supreme personality of Godhead. He exists in his all-pervading form, and in him exists all the individual living entities, beginning from the first great teacher, Brahma, down to the small ants. There are unlimited heads, legs, hands, and eyes, and unlimited living entities. All are existing in and on the super soul. Therefore, the super soul is all pervading. The individual soul, however, cannot say that he has his hands, legs, and eyes everywhere. That is not possible. If he thinks that under ignorance he is not conscious that his hands and legs are diffused all over, but when he attains to proper knowledge, he will come to that stage. His thinking is contradictory. This means that the individual soul, having become conditioned by material nature, is not supreme. The supreme is different from the individual soul. The supreme Lord can extend his hand without limit. The individual soul cannot. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that if anyone offers him a flower or a fruit or a little water, he accepts it. If the Lord is a far distance away, how can he accept things? This is the omnipotence of the Lord. Even though he is situated in his own abode, far, far away from earth, he can extend his hand to accept what anyone offers. That is his potency. In the Brahma Samhita, chapter 5, verse 37, it is stated, Goloka eva nivasti akhilatam bhutaha. Although he is always engaged in pastimes in his transcendental planet, he is all pervading. The individual soul cannot claim that he is all pervading. Therefore, this verse describes the supreme soul, the personality of Godhead, not the individual soul. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, in this verse, the Lord is explaining his all pervasive potency. As Srila Prabhupada are saying that in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that if anyone offers him a flower or a fruit or a little water, he accepts. If the Lord is far away, and then how he can accept things? This is the omnipotence of the Lord. So we can understand this point that the Lord is omnipotent and he accepts from any of his senses, and distance doesn't matter to him because time and place is created by him. Bhagavad Gita confirms that Krishna says he is time. So Krishna is pervading in all his creation by expanding as a super soul. So if we remember this point, then we can become Krishna conscious. And whatever we are doing, we can remind ourselves that this verse, that Krishna is listening, he is watching. That's why we can try to like that's why we that's how we can try to follow all the instructions seriously. Otherwise, we can try to deceive the whole world, but we cannot hide things from Krishna because he's pervading everywhere as a super soul. And this verse confirms that he got hands, legs, eyes everywhere. So this is not possible. So um, these are not just words or just book knowledge. This is the real fact. Only devotees of the Lord can realize this fact. Who got 100% faith on Krishna. Otherwise, we are carry on doing so many things like nobody watching us, so many nonsensical things. So this knowledge means that we can realize this knowledge practically, and our way of life will change. So Srila Prabhupada are saying another point that individual soul is not the super soul. The super soul has the potency to pervade everywhere, and the super soul is conscious of everyone. But individual soul, although the part and parcel of the supreme, but only conscious of individual kshetra. Why is so? If spirit soul is the part and parcel and got the same quality, so I can understand that it is mentioned that Krishna expand in two ways. Like one is Swayamansha, like Vishnu Tattva, and second is Bhinnansha, like Jiva Tattva. So because we are Bhinna Ansha or separated, so we cannot become Vishnu Tattva. And Mayavadi philosophy of merging into Brahm Jyoti or Brahman and becoming one with God is false. And constitutionally, we are made Bhinna or separated, and eternally we are separated. So plus spirit soul is very minute in quantity, and super soul is Vibhu, great, as Srila Prabhupada explains this fact in his lecture. So this point is also established here in this verse, that Mayavadi philosophy of merging one or becoming one is also defeated here. And so these two main points that I realized from this verse. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you, His Grace Ambrish Prabhu, Her Grace Purnya Pagna Devi Dasi Mataji, and His Grace Krishna Samara Krishna Prabhu for keeping this fire going of studying scriptures and remaining engaged. Yeah, the verse we are studying today is Bhagavad Gita, chapter 30, verse number 14. Sarvataha pani padam tat sarvato akshi shiromukham सर्वतः श्रुतिमल्लोके सर्वम् आवृत्य तिष्ठति सर्वतः पाणिपादं तत् सर्वतोऽक्षिशिरोमुखम् सर्वतः श्रुतिमल्लोके सर्वम् आवृत्य तिष्ठति. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Everywhere are his hands and legs, his eyes, heads, and faces. And he has ears everywhere. In this way, the super soul exists, pervading everything. So, the first thing which came to my mind was that omnipotence of Krishna through super soul. And beyond that, I really could not understand what to realize about super soul or what to understand because Krishna started giving this knowledge. So I'll just repeat about the same quality which is Krishna has referred elsewhere. Otherwise, I have no relation on this verse. I just it's there no relation coming to my mind other than as omnipotence, and that shows my level of bhakti and knowledge that it is actually very superficial and it is hopeless. The verse Krishna has also same background, same situation, where he's talking to Arjun, and that verse also is very hard to understand. That's also a very famous verse. Mattaha partaram nanyat kinchit asti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam protam sutre mani gada eva. O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. So everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. Same thing Krishna has started giving knowledge, further detailing about while in the background of Sankhya philosophy, what is the super soul and how it is um, actually enjoying. So it's enjoyment and also with the soul being with the super soul also guiding soul and yeah, all those things, keeping an eye, two birds. A lot of Prabhupada talks about all those things. So I'm still not able to understand because my is beyond material mind capacity. The same thing. So I've taken it as absolute truth. This is how it is, and in the purport, Prabhupada write in the same verse that in the material world, Brahma, the primal living entity with the universe, is understood to be the supreme amongst the demigods, human beings, and lower animals. But beyond Brahma, there is the transcendence, who has no material form and is free from all material contaminations. Anyone who can know him also becomes transcendental, but those who do not know him suffer the miseries of the material world. So this is a very important statement which Prabhupada writes in the purport that anybody who is not Krishna conscious is going to suffer. This is what I tell in the people I talk to. You are getting old. You are doing this worship now. There is a Ganesh Chaturthi festival is picking up, so everybody is doing that. So I said any demigod worshipper, anybody is going to suffer in his old age. So it's up to you what you want to do because that you will not if unless you understand this philosophy, whatever you do, you are going to suffer. So this is what Prabhupada is also writing here. So this is Prabhu, couple of my reactions. I'm sorry I don't have much to say. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Dev duties. Thank you, His Grace Ambrish Prabhuji, Hare Grace Pagi Mataji, and His Grace Krishna Samvartam Krishna Prabhu for training us and actually encouraging us to study and share our realizations on the Bhagavad Gita verses. And thank you, His Grace Sanjay Prabhu and Aminash Prabhu for your nice realization on this verse. So Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, verse 14. Sarvataha pani padanta sarvato shishiro mukham सर्वतः श्रुतिमल्लोके सर्वं आवृत्य तिष्ठति. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Everywhere are his hands and legs, his eyes, heads and faces, and he has ears everywhere. In this way, the super soul exists, pervading everything. So, as we studied the previous verse, so now we are studying the object of knowledge. So in the previous verse, Srila Prabhupada always quote, Vedeshya sarver aham eva ved. From all the Vedas, only Krishna to be known. And Srila Prabhupada always, I heard this statement many times. And the object of all the knowledge is actually to know Krishna, understand Krishna. So now the information or description of the Paramatma is now actually given in this verse as well. So as Srila Prabhupada mentioned, in the purport that as the sun exists, diffusing his unlimited rays, so does the super soul or the supreme personality of Godhead. He exists in his all-pervading form, and in him exist all the individual living entities, beginning from the first creature Brahma down to the small ants. So here, as means in previous, actually chapters as well, where Krishna has actually already stated that, with just a fragment of himself, he pervades the entire universe, entire creation. And as a Paramatma feature, as we know, that he is present in every item and every living entity in their hearts. So he's present everywhere. So this all-pervading nature of super soul here. And here, as we actually in the purport, there's a kind of comparison as also being made, soul versus super soul. So actually, this verse is actually talking about the super soul, Paramatma, not soul. So soul is not actually all-pervading. So as we know, the soul is very minute. Even he is actually the part and parcel of Krishna, but is as being very minute. As it is stated that 1/10,000th part of a tip of hair. We are very small, and it is always, actually we are always under the influence of actually three modes, and this Maya energy, and we are actually covered, by this actually the material body. So our actually presence, or as we say, the Chetna is only limited to our body. Versus, as we say, the super soul can actually feel and understand all the bodies, So he is present in everyone, so he can understand what's going on into their body. We can only feel, even we don't know what's happening in our body. We do not have the complete information or knowledge how our body is operating, or if there is any issue, we do not know. So our actually potency is very, very limited as compared to super soul. So as Sanjay Prabhu also mentioned, actually, if the Krishna is, actually he's all pervading, how come the soul is not all pervading? So, there's a big difference between actually the minute soul and the super soul. So this one thing, and as we say that because Krishna is omnipotent, so even is actually situated in Golak Vrindavan and is always engaged in his pastimes, still he's present everywhere in the form of actually Paramatma. And Srila Prabhupada took this example of actually patram pushpam phalam toyam. Whenever we offer, any of these items to Krishna with lot of love and devotion, he accepts it. So he can extend his hand. So actually, the distance or any material boundaries actually do not have any actually means limitation. There is no limitation to Krishna's potency, because everything emanates from him. So everything is under his control, and he can be present anywhere and everywhere and whenever he wants, and he's present. And as actually, I was thinking on this aspect that actually Krishna is present in your heart, and everybody want to actually very eager to see God. And also Srila Prabhupada always discuss this point that yes, once actually when you develop your love for Krishna, then you can see God all the time, 24/7. So when I heard that lecture, I used to wonder how come it is possible. So when you have the actually love for Krishna, then you can see and actually realize Krishna everywhere, as it is stated here, as an all-pervading feature. He's in our heart, but we fail to understand. We are looking outside. So actually, as we say, the science of self-realization. So first we understand what we are, and we have to also understand there is a super soul and our relationship. So actually, this actually realization that actually Krishna is present in our heart, and Sanjay Prabhu also mentioned we cannot hide anything from Krishna. So there is no question of being a dishonest, as it is stated, upadrashta anumantacha. So he's witnessing everything, whatever we're doing, and he's also sanctioning, whatever our desires and whatever action we want to take. So it's not just sanctioning, but he's actually guiding us. So in chapter 7, actually, I remember this verse very vividly when we had this discussion, that actually why Paramatma is present, in everyone's actually heart. But, and I also know that actually Paramatma is not present in actually the Golak, Vrindavan, or actually the spiritual world. He don't need to be present there in everyone's heart there, but he's present in the material creation. And Srila Prabhupada said that God always want everyone to come back, come back home. So he want to bring everyone. So he's being present in their heart, no matter what body we are, And Srila Prabhupada always say, even you are actually worm in a stool, Krishna still, do not actually abandon you. So this actually, the statement that Srila Prabhupada, the example that he quoted, actually, we can understand actually the profound, actually the mercy of Krishna, that, and as in this material world, we have material relationship, even our closest, our parents or our children, even they can actually abandon us, and this is happening in this Kali Yuga, as we can see. But Krishna, no matter how much we fall, even we commit the greatest offense, but Krishna never rejects, but even in the devotional actually platform, we see that if somebody has committed abominable sin, now we reject him, actually, even if it's Guru, we actually reject the Guru. But Krishna never rejected, so it's very hard to understand Krishna, and his mercy. That even actually we are actually the most abominable, he's actually still, do not lose, actually, he do not want to actually leave you. So that way, actually, Krishna is actually always guiding us. And as we studied in seed verses, that actually one who's devoted to Krishna, constantly serving Krishna 24/7, once he become pure, and rendering the pure devotional service, as Amrish Prabhu mentioned previously, he takes charge of the actually life of that actually devotee, And we have seen this many examples, especially for very exalted devotees, like Srila Prabhupada, there are many other examples that actually even if you have any material attachments, it is said that Krishna takes away all your material possession away, when you actually, very advanced, So he wants you to actually come back or accelerate your process of going back to the Godhead. So this Paramatma feature of Krishna is very, very important for the living entities. And I also actually, remember Amrish Prabhu was always mentioned that a Maharaj always, listen to his heart. He's always listening to Paramatma's instruction. So it's quite dynamic. We don't do that actually. Even we're not to that purified level. Actually, I'm not that purified, but still, we actually in our heart we know whenever we take action. Is it good or bad? He's always there is instruction. But ultimate actually because of a free will, it's up to us what we want to do. So actually, this is what I realized. That actually, the role of Paramatma actually for all the living entities, and even for me to go back to the Godhead, is very, very important, and that can be only realized through the actually if you remain actually under the shelter and instructions of actually realized soul, because I cannot understand. Actually, I might be concocting. We might think, oh, this is Paramatma instruction, but as it is said, Guru Maharaj says that sometimes we get a spiritual instruction under material instruction under spiritual guise. We think, oh, this is the right thing to do. So this is the main thing I realize, while meditating on this verse. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
So, Pawan Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Sarvataha pani padam tat sarato akshi shiro mukham sarvataha shrutim loke sarvamavritya tishtati. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Everywhere are his hands and legs, his eyes and faces, and he hears everything. In this way, the super soul exists. Thank you, His Grace Amrish Prabhuji. Thank you, Her Grace Purnampada Devi Dashi Mataji. And thank you, His Grace Krishna Samarpan Krishna Das Prabhu, for giving us an opportunity to give our realization. So, my realization from this verse is here Srila Prabhupada explains that even though Krishna is in his spiritual abode, through his energies, he is present everywhere. He is pervading. Just like the sun is in one place, but sun spreads light everywhere. Our senses actually belongs to him, because we may think that these hands are mine, the eyes are mine, but actually they are all Krishna's energies. So without his sanction, we cannot use them. And he is a real enjoyer. Whatever we do with our senses, like what we eat, work, see, hear, actually it is meant for Krishna's pleasure, not for our pleasure. We are not independent at all. We think that we are doers, but it is Krishna who empowers every living being to act. Maharaj often said that when you see the working of nature, we can see the Krishna's hand everywhere. He is the one who moves the sun, moon, seasons, and even our breath. So don't misuse the Krishna's property, that is our body, senses, and even time belongs to him. If we misuse them for our selfish purpose, then we become bound. If we use them for his service, then we are free. In every heart, Krishna is seeing and hearing. Just now, Shital Prabhu mentioned that the God is guiding for all and he's watching as well. So in that way, in every heart, Krishna is seeing and hearing. So there is no secrecy. I might think that nobody is watching me, but God is there in super soul and he's watching. So one must understand that each and every steps he's witnessing us, he's witnessing me. So knowing this help us to remain clean in our thoughts and action. And to that, one must develop the humility. If Krishna is the one working through all hands and legs, then where is the question of pride? Actually, everything belongs to Lord. So the Srila Prabhupada mentioned about that analogy of the sun, that when the sun exists in one place, actually the sun globe, but it is the heat and the light that spread everywhere. So you don't have to be on the sun or just feel like warm. Actually, it is all sun's energy is pervading everywhere. Similarly, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he resides in his spiritual abode, but his energy, the Brahman, pervades the entire universe. Also, that's one of the Srila Prabhupada always give an example about the owner of the factory or the CEO or even political leaders. Srila Prabhupada says that political leader or the CEO, they doesn't physically they present in that company. They sit in one place, in one office, but they control everything through their orders or through their assistants or even and the influence that they felt everywhere through their assistants and managers. So the hands and legs of the companies are their employee. Ears, their spies and the reporters. Similarly, the hands, legs, and eyes of God mentioned in this verse are hands, legs, and senses of all living entities. So everything is working under His direction. This verse states that the super soul, the Paramatma, is everywhere, pervading everything. Prabhupada clarifies that this is the different from our individual soul. So our individual soul is situated only within our body, but when your hands and legs are moved, only I feel that, one the person will feel that. But when someone else's hands and legs are moved, you have no experience of it. Whereas the super soul is a part and parcel of the Krishna, and he's witness in every living being's heart. He experiences everything that happens everywhere because he's present in every living beings. So this means that while we are limited, but God is unlimited. He's not bound by a single body or a single location. The what key realization from this particular verse is that we can see the God presence everywhere if we have that too, if we have the right understanding. You don't have to go on a difficult pilgrimage or different places because God is right here. If you have right, I mean, we can see the God everywhere. So we can see that hands and legs in the way of universe is perfectly maintained. The planets rotating, the seasons are changing, moon, sun, they are all moving. So by seeing this, we can see that the God's hands is everywhere. We can see also His intelligence in the design of every living creature, from smallest insect to the largest whale. So we should appreciate the subtle yet but the presence of the Supreme Lord in every aspect and creation. If we understand this, then we can develop deeper sense and understanding and try to connect to Him, to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna, this is my realization.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much for nice realizations. This particular verse is an offshoot of last week's verse. And as I said, the last week's verse, if we do not understand where the communication changed, then we won't understand this verse. Paramatma realization is a realization of Chit, Sat and Chit. Brahman realization is a realization of Sat. And Bhagavan realization is a realization of Satchit and Anand. So, technically speaking, the devotees, we have been given this great knowledge by Srila Prabhupada. On the order of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada's Guru Maharaj, to uplift all living beings without the foundational knowledge that is needed and the intelligence that is needed to be inquisitive. We discussed this point quite a bit. Yes, of course, we all have been inquisitive about life. What is life? Why life? What it is? And of course, we all have been deeply thinking about it in our own way. That's why we are sitting here. And those who have spent time, real time, thinking about it, they are different to those who have not spent that much time thinking, analyzing, researching about it. So when they find this knowledge, then they grab it, they digest it, they live with it. That is why knowledge is the same, but the realizations are different. There is a reason why in preaching we emphasize upon the realization, because this tells us how much knowledge have we digested. That tells us how much eager we are to gain the knowledge and to do what with it. So, to the point here, Paramatma realization is not an easy realization to have. Bhagwan is very difficult as well. Brahman is easy because there is no characteristics. Although there is some characteristics, but still, there's Brahmanand in it. There is a reason why this verse which Guru Maharaj had instructed in Auckland, I've mentioned this in the past many, many times. Jitat manaha prashantasya, paramatma samahitaha, chitushruga dukhesu tatha manapamanayoho. So one who has conquered the mind, they have attained tranquility. And when tranquility is attained, one has nearly reached Paramatma. So the Paramatma realization is a realization which is just after conquering of the intelligence and the mind. You just see how much important is it to control and conquer the mind. It is inconquerable. And that is the reason why the yogis in the past stages, they were concentrating upon the Paramatma in the heart. They were self-realized. Now we think that, oh, right now we are not experiencing Paramatma. When we become pure devotee, we will experience it. This is again the biggest folly when we discuss in our program to say that we all have to become saintly. Saintliness is not monopoly of anybody. Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj Srila Gurudev says this. Everybody has to be saint. We emphasize this point also. So these are fundamentals of our preaching. The second fundamental point of our preaching. So we all are experiencing Paramatma. And depending upon our purity and our austerity, like today's instructions of Guru Maharaj says that austerity depends upon purity. Purity and austerity are the impetus of bhakti. Impetus of bhakti, purity and austerity. And austerity depends upon purity. So what is purity? That you must find out. So it is very, very critical that we have to shed away our laziness and use our super intelligence to try and understand Paramatma. Because we are experiencing Paramatma even now. Even every jiva, not only human being, every jiva experiences Paramatma. That same crab in the sea who is going to fight with another creature which is bigger, and he cuts open seaweeds and plants those seaweeds on its head to show himself bigger than the other opponent. That crab, who gave intelligence to the crab? Where is a mirror for the crab to see itself? That I'm so small, that is so big. Other competitor, predator. And there, if I show myself to be bigger than this predator, the predator will not touch me. I've seen it. I've seen this actually. Fact. So Paramatma is teaching every living being. It is it's a folly thinking to say that only pure devotee Paramatma talks. No, no, no. Paramatma talks different things to different living beings, but talks to every living being. Because it is the birthright of every living being. And that is the reason why Krishna himself is present in the Paramatma, as Paramatma in the heart of all material bodies. How much time we are investing to find Paramatma is important. We understand this point. At the same time, at this point, how much intelligently are we trying to understand Paramatma? If we are going to tell ourselves, oh, but I don't have that much intelligence, or but I don't know, maybe that person is pure devotee, I'm not a pure devotee, and I'm satisfied where I am. One day I'll become pure devotee. One day. And I'm also a witness. I'm also a folly thinker like this. One day, the day will come. You don't even know the day will come. So, Paramatma is talking, and the easiest way to understand is this. What are we praying to Krishna? See if you get the results over a period of time. In devotion, even in devotional service, if you pray to Krishna, Krishna, give me this. And over a period of time, it comes to you. You understand, this is what I prayed, this is what I got. So if you want name, fame, that is the reason why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed those 8 verses. In there he says, Na dhanam na janam na sundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kamaye, mama janmani janmanishware, bhavatar bhakti rahetu ki tvayi. I don't want a number of followers. I don't want all the riches. I don't want beautiful women, beautiful wife. Nobody, I don't want anything. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. Mama janmani janmanishware. Are we praying for this? Or are we praying for saying, oh, let me become very famous? Even materially also. Even spiritually also. And Krishna will reciprocate. Krishna will definitely reciprocate, definitely. That doesn't mean that any rascal will do anything reciprocation and expect Krishna to reciprocate. No, no, no. Krishna will reciprocate if he is satisfied. That is correct. But as devotees, if we are trying to sincerely do something or bhakti, be very, very careful what you are asking for. Very careful. Because what we are aiming for, that knowledge is unavailable anywhere in the material world. Knowledge of spiritual world, of Vaikuntha planets, what to speak about Golok Vrindavan, it is unavailable in the material world. Even in higher planets, it is not available. That is the reason why we say that it is come, Srila Prabhupada has taken birth to share this knowledge. Srila Prabhupada's Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. Sri Gaur Kishore Babaji Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Thakur, Sri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, and so on. So that is the reason why this knowledge is not of this world. That is the reason why the work that is to be done to gain this knowledge is also not of this world. That's why it's called Parabhakti, transcendental. As long as we do not understand this, that the activities that we are asked to perform, Krishna consciousness, is not of this world. Although we are to use this body to perform this bhakti, which is not to be performed in this material body. It is a spiritual soul's body which does this bhakti. If we do not understand this, rather we should understand this, and things will fall into place. Once we are understanding this position, it is para bhakti. It is not related to any of this. Then we'll use our intelligence correctly. Otherwise, even these verses, we just go one verse at a time. The connections, past, present, the future verses, we don't understand where the communication is going, how the conversation is constructed. Like we have got somebody who's an expert communicator, that person constructs a communication. The way message is shared with a story, with philosophy, with knowledge, with humor, with the questions. It's called construction of communication. Krishna is the biggest constructor of communication. So we have to understand how the line goes, the thread goes. So we are very, very fortunate that somehow or other we have been connected with this para knowledge, which is not of this world, which Srila Prabhupada is given, out of Srila Prabhupada's extreme callous mercy. And this knowledge is a great privilege to share with others. Although we are ourselves in the material world struggling, but knowledge itself is pure. That is the reason why it's very important to call, it's called carrying this knowledge. Carrying this message, it's called. The same message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was carried forward. Even at a time when everything was destroyed, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message had completely been destroyed. Barely 200 years after Mahaprabhu's disappearance. Completely gone, not there. Everybody else had distorted the message. And there were some individual Vaishnavas who fought for it against all odds. They were in majority, and these Vaishnavas were in complete minority. Complete means isolated minority. And today, it may have been changed, but still, because it has been preached, this knowledge, we are not qualified to receive this knowledge. Because we have not performed austerity to gain this knowledge. So the least we can do is to appreciate this, and with it, very, very, very sincerely and very, very, very intelligently, we must decipher what is the message behind this. So that is how Parabhakti, the Paramatma realization, slowly begins with our change in our thinking, and change with our behavior. And as we chant, as we sort activities of the spirit soul, the Paramatma is a witness. And you will see slowly your prayers also will change deep inside the heart. You will not be praying for it. But if you're performing devotional activities with some motive in your heart, the motive will be revealed. Either being famous or being rich, but it's spiritually also recognizable. But if you stick to this, na janam na janam na janam na janam na sundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kami, then we are following what Mahaprabhu has instructed us. So it starts with this prayer. Search for the Supreme Absolute Truth as Paramatma. Start with our own inner desires. Because those desires, Krishna knows. And he fulfills those desires. So if you want cheap desires, he'll give and we are done. We are then entangled in the cheap desires. Even with the spirit of spiritual things. We want to become famous devotee. We want to preach big way. We want to have big this. We want to have that. It's very difficult. And even if you pray, make me nobody, and you will become nobody. That is even more difficult. Others, everybody around you are become somebody. So be very careful. Bhakti is not easy at all because it is nature of spirit soul, not this body. Material world and bhakti does not match. We have to somehow match it. Please. And this bhakti, the original bhakti of the super soul of Krishna, is then diluted to having bhakti for the demigods also. And they in turn are demigods of material, who in turn will give you benedictions, being satisfied. Not all of them have got full spiritual knowledge about spiritual things. This again is information by Srila Prabhupada. Just see this great secret so easily given by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much. This is what I wanted to share. And when anyone wants to say anything, please feel free. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai.
Jai.
Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
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 Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai.
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 Srila Gurudev ki jai.
Jai.
Word synonyms, translations and purport by Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
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 Jai Gaur Chandra
Jai.
Premananda. Hari Hari Bol.
Hare
Thank
Hare.
you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Prabhu.
Hare